discover yourself or create yourself? That's the theme we'll discuss today. And it came from the end of our previous video where we discussed meaning and value. And we asked the question whether meaning is simply something we discover or whether it's something that we are invited to participate in its creating. And so obviously the ideas of meaning and identity, meaning and self are totally intertwined. What you mean, the particular significance of your life is completely intertwined with the definition of meaning and self. So let's begin by taking something quite simple. Let's define meaning, and we do it using the illustration of how we give meaning, for instance, to a word, meaning within language. Now, a dictionary will define and give specific meaning to each word, but the way in which it does it is in a self-referential way. Each word within the dictionary relies upon many other words to define it. There's no one word that is complete and its meaning fully understood in and by itself. It always refers to other words or uses other words to define a word. So meaning happens within the self-referential relationship when we place the words, the sentences, the stories within a context that continues to increase the meaning of what we are saying. What does this have to do with you? Each one of us enters this world and we enter a world that's already filled with meanings. It's already filled with language, with stories, with narratives, and we find ourselves in the context of a community where these stories are still unfolding. And these meanings and these ideas tries to maybe impose themselves upon you, but also ask of you the question, what is your particular meaning? What is your particular significance? Now, theology and philosophy is very skilled and great at telling us what all humans have in common, making generalized statements about the value or the meaning of humanity in general, but they often not that good at saying what is your particular meaning. Because you see, it's exactly that which you do not have in common with anyone else that makes you unique. It's exactly what you don't have in common with the stories and ideas and with the rest of humanity that gives you a particular significance. Let's take this analogy a little bit further. If we think of grammar, the structure of language, the rules of language, it's necessary to make language understandable. But grammar by itself never tells a story. Grammar by itself never gives meaning. It just makes meaning possible. Maybe God is not the one who wants to impose a narrative and a story upon your life. Maybe God's not the one who wants to impose a specific design, upon your existence. Not the one who gives meaning to everything, but rather the one who makes meaning possible. The one who invites each one of us to co-author a story that has never been told before. See, in that we can start seeing that our existence, our particular significance, the meaning of my life is not just something that's imposed upon me, but something that I have an active role, a creative role in fulfilling. Now, many of the audiences that we've ministered with and been with, and I myself have come out of a religious upbringing where there was a constant, a pressure to become something you are not. There's that underlying message that what and who you are is not good enough, is not approved by God, and you need to become more spiritual, you need to pray more, you've got to try harder to become more acceptable, etc. Now, if that is the background, and for many that is the reality of where they've come from, if that's where you come from, that becoming something else always happens out of a sense of lack and inferiority, and what you are is not good enough, then it will obviously have a very negative connotation. If in the midst of that you discover that you are loved, that you are accepted, that you are embraced for who you are, right where you at, God adores you. What a relief, what a rest we can enter to in that discovery. So there's undoubtedly things we need to discover. But in that discovery, that who and what I am is loved by God, I also discover that the very essence of what makes me me is the capacity to continue to unfold the beautiful possibilities that God makes possible. And so becoming and being aren't opposite, or maybe let's approach it from another way. What is the nature of reality? Is our world made up of things, or is our reality made up of events? Now we often think of our world as a world that's made of stuff, of things. Plato most definitely, and his ideas have been very influential in the world, and still up to this day. But he very much believed that the world was made of things, and that relationship was basically attributes that could be added or subtracted without changing the essence of a thing. So he would say this chair is a copy of a heavenly essence, that there's the perfect chair in the world of ideas, in this heavenly realm, and this chair draws its essence from that heavenly realm. But relationships and events are just attributes. Much of what he said, for all the beauty that it reveals, there's much in what he communicated and thought that is proven to be erroneous. For instance, today we know that every particle, every atom within this chair is an event. In fact, there are billions of quarks that pops in and out of existence every second that constitutes every atom, and the atom is a movement of events. In other words, what you are sitting on, the chair that you are sitting on, the car you're driving in, wherever you are, it might be a bit of a mind change to think of the fact that you're not just sitting on a thing, but you're sitting on an accumulation of events. The very fabric of reality is a moving, living event. There's nothing that is static, that's changeless. And in the same way, your being, who you are, what you are, is not a essence that can be finally and completely defined and captured. Rather, at the very heart of what makes you, you, is this capacity to continue, to create, to become. It is the very movements and the relationships that I find myself in that's the essence of my being. And I can have no being without this becoming. So, to summarize, discover yourself or create yourself. There's undoubtedly beautiful things that we need to discover about ourselves, that you are loved and that you have been given freedom to think, to act, to create. And in that freedom that you've been given, you participate in this ongoing creative act of becoming. Bless you. Hey, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. Share it with some friends. Thank you. Bye.